Good evening. It's just 7 minutes to the hour of 6, and we welcome you for another live broadcast straight from the wild out here in Queen Elizabeth National Park. We were lucky to come across the pride that we ended the day with yesterday. That's a pride of 6 lions, 5 sub-adult males, and their one sister. We're just a few minutes away from I think it's called the Nyamusingiri gate, which many people might also know as the Kasani gate. And as we were just driving past, we were able to sight this pair. That's one lion and a lioness in the tree. But just around in the shrubs, their siblings, I guess, also seeking shelter from the African sun. The temperatures are getting a bit cooler right now, and we expect that in a couple of minutes, or I guess close towards 7 p.m., they may come down from the tree where they're currently resting, or they may get active a bit. As we did mention, we are a team of wilderness filmmakers who are currently working on a large carnivore story out here in Queen Elizabeth National Park. And of course, when we say large carnivore, our main interest is the lions, the leopards, and hyenas. So thank you so much for joining us. This evening we are streaming both on X, which I prefer to call Twitter, and we are also sending a feed to YouTube. So guys tuning in on YouTube might be able to get a slightly clearer image than the compressed version on X, and I believe they may also be able to submit comments, which we will be able to broadcast on the screen as well. Otherwise, thank you so much for joining us. Please do not hesitate to share the link. We will be camped here for a bit just to see what these lions decide to do this evening. But as we do that, please feel free to retweet or reshare the link. Hit us a like if you are enjoying the broadcast. And don't hesitate to leave a comment or a question as well. We do have with us Moses, who is the man behind the wheel, and a seasoned safari guide who may be able to provide some answers to some of the questions that you may have as we watch this lovely sighting together. On camera A is Brian O, who is also bringing us the aerials. On camera B is Brian A, and on camera C is myself, Jonathan Benaya, who is also doing a bit of narration. And the person doing our sound is Josh. Thank you so much for joining us. I'll keep quiet for a moment so that we can all enjoy those nice bush sounds. maybe as we wait, we could get Moses to tell us a bit about why he thinks these particular lions are up there in the trees, and also what type of tree or vegetation are we looking at here.
Thank you very much. Maybe let me start with the last question first. The type of tree these lions are resting in is called the Phobia candelabrum, and I think these lions like it because it has quite some broader branches, so it can sustain their weight when they climb up there. You realize when you see the whole tree from down, they aren't sleeping very high up from the ground, so the tree doesn't favor them going high up in the canopies. I think the reason as to why they are up in the trees at this time is mainly because actually I think when it rains a little bit like it was doing yesterday, there's a lot of flies that are down, including the tsetse flies and then the normal flies, and most of the carnivores and actually even all the grazers like buffaloes suffer a lot from these flies. They irritate them a lot. So maybe when they're up, they have a lot of, maybe they have some shelter from these flies, and also because they are nocturnal animals and they are not active in the day, so they spend their day sleeping. And like these ones, they have been up in this tree, I think, for the better part of this day. Thank you.
Okay, nice. And if you are watching and you have any other question, I guess, regarding lions or I guess other wildlife out here in Queen Elizabeth National Park, feel free to use the moment that we are live to ask, and we'll do our best to try and respond to as many of those questions as possible. As we did mention, we are broadcasting both on X, that's formerly Twitter, and also sending a feed to YouTube. So if you go to YouTube and you prefer to watch a slightly clearer image than what Twitter provides, just go to the search panel, or rather search tab, and type in Jonathan Benaya. And I believe if you go to the channel, you should see the first thing you should see should be the live broadcast. All right, I'll keep quiet again, and we'll listen to the sounds of the wild. Okay, maybe let me just make a shout out to some people I see tuning in. Dennis Mukungu, thank you for joining us. I think you were on an earlier broadcast as well. Thank you for sticking with us. Well, as we did mention, we are trying to just share a bit of our screens and cameras. The main purpose of us being out here in the wild is that we're filming a wilderness story. But when we get time to do a bit of time down, of course, after filling up our hard drives, we let the cameras roll and give you guys a bit of, if I could call it, a sneak peek into the wild. And here we are this evening, just watching these two lions. Their siblings are just laying in the savannah, just around. And maybe later on during the broadcast, we may see one or two of them walk towards the shrub or see these two guys chilling up in the tree, coming down to maybe join their brothers. I do see Abias as well is joining us as well. Abias says if you're stuck in traffic, this should be the best thing to tune into. Well, that's quite a nice comment. Bushkal, we see you. Thank you for joining us again. I think you've been on almost all the broadcasts we've done. So, Moses, maybe another question I might have is we seem to know that the lions down south in Ishasha, which is also a sector in this particular national park, they seem to be, if I could call it, the celebrities of the show when it comes to climbing trees. How is it that we are also seeing these lions as well up in the trees?
Right. Just like any other cats, be it wild or domestic, almost all the cats can climb, and they have that unique ability of climbing every kind of tree. You never even think about how big they are. They are going to surprise you when they try to climb up even the hardest tree you can think of. So, but the special thing with the lands down in Ishasha is those lands actually do it like it's part of their business every day. They do climb every day, every morning, and for them they do climb another kind of tree called a ficus. I'm not very sure if it's a sycamore. I've heard of some scientists calling it another name, but it's a ficus, and it's quite very hard to climb compared to this one. Uh, and if you see the heights those lions in Ishasha go to, they are surely stars of that game. They do climb quite very far up in the canopies, and these guys seem to have love of climbing the euphorbias only, which are very very short compared to the ficuses in Ishasha. Thank you.
Okay, interesting. Well, our friends seem to be getting up, so I'll just bring you guys close up. Oh, we actually have three lions in the tree. I'd counted two lions earlier. Oh, my bad. Yeah, we currently have three lions, and there's one that seems to be coming down at the moment. I'll try and give you a wide shot. Maybe just to mention, that particular lion seems like he's trying to do some business, some interesting business. And I guess we'll have to sit still and unveil as the minutes go past. I don't want to overthink or preempt it, but I get the feeling that he must be setting himself up for some serious business. So let's just watch. Um, we're going to try and get you a better angle of the lioness and that lion that just got up and walked to her. So just hang in there. We're just going to try and reposition it. And maybe as we do that, for those that missed a broadcast that we did, I guess, 2 days ago, when we shared space with a lioness and her 4 cute little cubs, we'll just play that clip for you as we reposition. Just enjoy this. We'll be back shortly. Okay, welcome back. I think that's slightly a better view of the pair. Let's just try to get you a close up. Okay, there you go. Let's just watch and see what happens. Okay, we have a question coming in from, I think, someone called Masulita. He's asking, or she is asking, I don't know, which section of Queen Elizabeth National Park is this? Maybe we'll get a response from Moses.
Yeah, right now we are in the Kasanyi sector of the park, and as you can see from your live feed, we are near the Nyamusingiri gate of the national park, which is quite near also to Mwea. So if you have your vectors, you can know from Mwea or from the main gate, also very near to Katunguru.
Okay, there you go, Masulita. Well, you might hear the sound of a fan going. Just bear with us. It's our way of just keeping out here in the wild. It's a portable power station that tends to kick in when we are charging our cameras. So, in case you hear that, it's not coming from the wild. It's just a small fan that is buzzing in the background. Otherwise, I think the natural sounds should be even louder. So, just sit still and enjoy. I see a question coming in from Ibrahim Kayondo, and he's asking whether we can share some numbers, whether we can estimate the population of lions out here in Queen Elizabeth National Park. Well, as we mentioned on an earlier broadcast, we are wilderness filmmakers. We wouldn't really consider ourselves as scientists. And that's a question that I would rather have the scientists that's at the Uganda Wildlife Authority, folks like the Wildlife Conservation Society, that's WCS, guys like the Uganda Conservation Foundation, UCF, Volcanoes Carnival Monitoring Program. I think those would be the guys to respond to a question like that. So maybe Kayondo, you might want to reach out to those entities. But what we are doing is just bringing you a bit of action from the wild, as responding to as many of the questions that we can, and where we can't, it's only respectful that we, I guess, point you towards the direction of people who would provide some authoritative answers in that regard. But thank you so much for joining us, and we hope you continue to enjoy the broadcast with us. Okay. I think I see Masulita is saying thanks for the answer. I guess that's for Moses who responded. There are live broadcasts from Kruger. Oh, yes, that's correct. I think that's done by some guys called Wild Earth. That's Safari Live. Yeah, it's good to see that we're able to also bring you something similar straight from the bush. Of course, ours are impromptu broadcasts. We aren't really scripting these and planning them. We're just bringing you a bit of BTS, or what we call behind the scenes footage from the back of our cameras as we film our large carnival story. Thanks for the kind words, Masulita, and yes, continue to enjoy the broadcast. So the lion seems to be growling, so we're just going to, I guess, raise the natural sound a bit, just so you can, I guess, hear them a bit more audibly. So just hang in there. Right, well, good evening, good afternoon, good morning, depending on where you are tuning in from. It's just 5 minutes to 6:30 out here in the Cassini Plains, Queen Elizabeth National Park. Thank you for joining us. If you just joined us, we are just sharing space. We're lucky to share space with a pride of 6 lions at the moment. 3 are up in the tree, and 3 others are just chilling or hiding in the bush around this little tree here. And it's just nice to be able to bring you some of the scenes straight and live from the bush. As we film, as we create this wonderful story, it's nice that the internet has been friendly at some points, and it's allowed us to broadcast and share some of this footage live and straight from the wild. We are streaming both on X, that's Twitter, and also there's a slightly clearer feed that is being served to YouTube. So in case that's your preferred platform, please just go to YouTube and search Jonathan Benaya. I believe the first thing you should see should be the live broadcast that is currently ongoing. Moses, just looking at those 2 lions, would you, I guess, kind of estimate or rather predict what's going on?
All right. The 2 lions, the 5 people of us in the jeep have seen them doing some or having some behaviors that point out to mating. But then as the male lion seems to be a little bit younger, and maybe it's doing what we call in science mock mating. And maybe if there is an older lion in these five among the group, it might mate with this female that looks to be ready. There's been some reports of these lions mating with the female, which is the only one in the group of 6, but we haven't captured it live, and we hope maybe if they can get off the tree, we can capture it live for you. But for now, it has been trying to do the mating up in the tree, and the result has been futile. So let's wait and see what happens. Enjoy the sighting.
Okay, wonderful. I'll get maybe Bran on Cam Air to maybe try and play for us a clip from earlier on when he was trying to met, as Moses was saying. But maybe as Brian gets that clip ready on his screen, I'd like to find out from Moses as well. Is it normal that um, lions like this, which would consider to be siblings, is it normal that they would try to mate, if I could call it, mate within their pride? Because it seems like this gentleman here is trying to mate with his own sister.
So, once again, these lions are 6 in number. For the larger part of the time we have been here, we've been saying 5, but I know there's a 6th one hiding maybe somewhere in the bush. But there's something in science called inbreeding, and it usually happens in almost all the animals in the bush and even the domestic animals, where, for example, a female gives birth, and then maybe I can even use an example of goats or cows. That he-goat or bull will mate with the mother, and then they will still give birth. So it's very possible these two brothers and sisters can mate with the female, and they will give birth to very healthy offsprings. Sometimes, if you go deeper in science, that decreases the chance of them lasting longer in the ecosystem, because the genes are not as strong as when, for example, a stray lion or even a stray coalition comes and mates with such a female in this group. But then that will mean, if, for example, that would happen, these brothers would be sent away from this pride, which I don't think right now is very possible, because these are very, very strong brothers, and if it's like it is right now, a 5-member coalition, it will be very hard for maybe 2 other males to dislodge them from this pride. But it's very possible these 2 lions are maybe going to mate or have mated with this female lion. As you can see on your screen, there is another male lion maybe trying to come into the sighting of the female and the male. And it's not very strange. It happens in the wild. Yeah.
Okay, fantastic. So the clip you were seeing earlier on Cam Air, which is being operated by Bran O, was just some footage we filmed earlier of that particular male just trying to mate. And let's just switch back to the live cameras. Yes, there you go. Yeah, so we'll just sit here, as Moses says, and just see if this scene develops further. If it doesn't, I guess at the end of the day, I think just seeing lions out here in the wild is in itself exciting enough, and we are glad that we can invite you into our safari jeep, pretty much like you would be sitting here physically, that you're able to watch in the comfort of your home. As Abia said, maybe some of you are still stuck in traffic as you head home. Kristen Munyantwali is saying this is beautiful, well done. Well, yeah, I'll let the team know, and yeah, thanks a lot for the kind words as well. So let's just listen to the natural sounds as well. Looks like one of the lions has come down. We're going to try and track it. I guess on camera one. It's a moment. Okay, it looks like he's moved faster than we could. Yeah, but one of the brothers has just come down the tree. And as Moses did mention earlier, this seems to be around the time when the lions get active. We did learn earlier, I think in one of the earlier broadcasts, that the lions spend most of the time resting, could call it sleeping, and I guess saving their energies for when the time for the hunt comes. Yeah, so we'll just maybe just sit here and continue to watch this pair for a few more minutes. If it's not as eventful, we may end the broadcast, or we may also try to get you, I guess, a different sighting or another lion. We may be able to just look through the bush and see if we can find you any other siblings. But otherwise, thank you so much for joining us so far. And as we enter the end of the broadcast, we'd like to make a special shout out to our partners who, I guess, have enabled this or made it possible. First of all, would like to say a very big thank you to the guys hosting us at Volcano Safaris. That's Volcano's Chambura Gorge Lodge. We did spend some nights at Kasani Safari Camp as well, so I'd like to make a shout out to them as well. And a big shout out to Uganda Wildlife Authority, who are the folks in charge of managing and conserving the wildlife in an ecosystem or a protected area like Queen Elizabeth National Park. We'd also like to make a shout out to the different organizations that are doing important conservation work in the Queen Elizabeth landscape. That's UCF, WCS, the Volcanoes, a Lion Monitoring Program, the Uganda Carnival Program, and several other entities. Apologies for that small glitch in the sound. We were just trying to get it back on. But yeah, I believe you can hear us again. So we're going to move around a bit and try and get you a view of the landscape just on the other side of our jeep. It might not be as, I guess, the most stunning of views, but we'll just try to reposition action camera and try and get you a landscape shot of potentially a sunset. It's not the most beautiful, but we'll just bring you that as we continue to watch the lions as well. So just hang in there as we try to reposition it. And maybe as Brian does that for us, I'll probably ask Moses. Moses, as someone who frequently visits Queen Elizabeth National Park, apart from the large carnivores, which of course for this particular film trip are our biggest interest, what would be your key highlights for anyone hoping or planning to come and enjoy a safari out here?
Well, thank you very much. Queen Elizabeth has very many places you can enjoy your safari, and one of them is the main attraction of the national park, which is called the Kazinga Channel, which actually, if you don't know, was the original name of the park before it was named Queen Elizabeth National Park. So the park was called Kazinga National Park, and now there is a channel that connects two lakes, Lake George and Lake Edward, where our tourists that we bring here do a boat cruise, and on that boat cruise you can easily see hippos, elephants, buffaloes maybe coming for water when it's very hot. There's crocodiles in there. There are very many birds, and very many aquatic animals. You can, on a very good day, also sight some snakes. So there's a lot to see. Also, on one other side of the national park, there is the Chambura Gorge. Yeah, we have been filming some what one of my guys in the jeep loves calling the lost apes or the lost primates, the chimpanzees. And it's an amazing forest that looks to be like an underground forest in between two big cliffs. And the Chambura Gorge is one of my most admirable places to go in this national park. Also, you can do a crater drive. There are very many crater lakes around this national park. And maybe when you are here for 2 or 3 nights, you are lost for what to do. You can only do very little things like game drives and a boat cruise. But there is a lot of things to do apart from the big carnivores.
Fantastic. When you mentioned Chambura, I think you brought back memories from earlier. I guess it was like 5 or 6 days ago when we were down in the gorge filming that fascinating group of chimpanzees led by their alpha called Moya. Such interesting personalities that they all have. We remind you so much about ourselves, and yeah, it's so evident that they are, I guess, considered our closest living relatives. I do know a majority of visitors that come to Uganda head out to Kibale National Park for their chimpanzee tracking experience. But I think for me, as a filmmaker, as a photographer, and just a naturalist who loves the bush and loves the wild, I think Chambura for me last week was incredible. Just listening to the sounds of the hippos. There's a river that goes through the gorge, and in there are hippos, elephants come and cross. You have the chimpanzees making their pant hoots. Just imagine those sounds reverberating across a gorge, which is pretty much a valley, and the echoes. Just the fact that it's a narrow gorge, you really hear the echoes reverberating all across the forest. And when you mix those chimpanzee pant hoots with hippo sounds, bird sounds, other primates, it's a heaven down there. It's definitely one thing that everyone should try and add to the bucket list. Our friends here seem to still be chilling, so we'll just maybe let this run for a few more minutes. We'll try and also bring you an angle of the plains, and if we are able to do that, you may be able to see um, what's potentially the sun going to sleep. But in case that's not possible, okay, there you go. It's not the most beautiful of sunsets. Yeah, but still, out here in the savannah, it's quite some beautiful views as well. Just go back to the lions. Okay, and then we'll just watch for a bit longer. So we've been live for about 55 minutes, and in the next 5 minutes, this broadcast will end. In case you have any final comment, in case you have a question that you'd want responded to, this is your moment to share that. But otherwise, I'd like to make a shout out to, once again, our partners. That's Volcanoes Chambura Gorge Lodge, who have been our hosts for the bulk of our stay here in Queen Elizabeth National Park. And would also like to make a shout out to Kasenyi Safari Camp, who also hosted us for a couple of nights. And the fine gentlemen and ladies at the Uganda Wildlife Authority who risk their lives and spend hours, weeks, months, and years out here conserving Uganda's wildlife and making it possible for many visitors to come and enjoy the wild, but also filmmakers like us, just being able to come and find populations like this thriving, and us getting this moment to share space and also give you a bit of a sneak peek into the wild as well, in the comfort of your home, of your car, wherever you are tuning in from. Once again, my name is Jonathan Benaya. I've been manning camera C and also bringing you a bit of narration. And behind the wheel is Moses, who has been also responding to some of your questions. Maybe just before we go offline, we'll just make a few shout outs to some folks that tuned in. Charles, the state director, Thank you for tuning in. I see Claire Robin, the guide. We see you. Thank you for joining us. Let me see who else was on here earlier. Bonnie, thank you for joining. Gabs Godwin, we see you. Thank you for joining us. Nicholas Nabas, thank you for joining us. Nicholas, Fabrice MC, thank you for joining us. Kevin Musoke, thank you for joining. Kayondo Ibrahim, yeah, we did see you earlier. Odiek Fred, thank you for joining. Katali Kawe, thank you for joining us. Lionel Mogema, thank you for joining. Namulwana Hilda, thank you for joining us. Oh, Ewafe Cultural Village is here as well. Good friends. Aisha Nabwanika, thank you for joining us. If you are tuning in and you're looking for raw, authentic, and awesome Buganda cultural experience, Ewafe Cultural Village should be your next destination. Ibarra, thank you for joining us. Dominic Tugume, you are on the earlier broadcasts. Thank you for sticking with us. Carlos Odur Ongom, thank you for joining us. Denzel UG, that's from XFM. We see you, brother. Thank you for sticking with us. Chigeze's Finest, thank you for tuning in. Just trying to make sure I don't forget anyone. Let me see. I think I've pretty much covered. Oh, there's Dennis Nabs. Thank you for joining. Jesse Muhwezi, a good friend. Thank you for tuning in as well. And finally, the man himself, Abiaz Ramiri. Thank you as well. Masulita, just looking at the guys who watched on YouTube. Masulita, thank you for joining. And Christine Munyantwali, who is also a safari guide. Yeah, thank you for tuning in as well. As I was closing earlier, I've been Jonathan Benaya behind camera C and just doing a bit of narration. Behind the wheel and responding to your questions has been Moses. On camera air, we've had Brian O, who's also been bringing us, I guess, if I could call it, some views from the sky, a God's eye view. And on camera B, we've had Brian A. And on sound, we've had Josh. From myself and the team out here in the world, I would like to say good morning. It's going to be a good night for us because it's just coming to, I guess, about 8 minutes to the hour of 7. And we will be heading back to Volcano's Chambura Gorge Lodge where we spend our night today as well. If it's... Oh, I see the sun coming out. Wow, that's stunning. Okay, this is going to be a wonderful way to end the broadcast. We are going to reposition the cars. I'll just cut to the action camera in a bit. Just give us a moment. Yes, so I'm just going to try and reposition and we'll try to get you a tight shot of that African savannah. Moses, do that very quickly. Is that good? Okay, let's reposition there. Okay, so just hang in there as the cameras try to focus in on the African sunset. It's a bit hidden behind the cloud, but we'll try and see if we can zoom in on it for you. Okay. Such a frustrating thing when that, if I could call it ball, the sun hides behind the cloud. Yeah, but there's a, I guess, sneak peek into an African sunset. For the time we've been out here, the sunrise and the sunsets have not been as eventful. I think this should be like the second. We had quite an interesting sunrise 2 days ago. but I think this would come in second for all the times we've been here. That's probably blamed on the rain that's been pouring on some of the days that we've been out there. So we're going to end the broadcast with a sunset. I'll keep quiet. I'll just give you maybe 1 or 2 minutes just to listen to the sounds of the wild. And as we do that, I'll just get Josh to pump up the sound and we'll just listen to the sounds of the wild together.